And we're really very excited about the groundswell of civic and elected officials today who see the potential in growing new business in Los Angeles, and furthermore, maybe more importantly, in claiming our place as a global leader in commerce and innovation. Now today we're very fortunate to have two elected officials who totally get it. And it's my pleasure to introduce them right now, and you can hear a little bit about their thoughts on this subject. I'm going to introduce our council member-elect, Mr. Mike Bonin, as well as Assemblyman Felipe Fuentes, and ask them to come on up and talk a little bit about their perspective. Gentlemen?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for being here. This is actually a really inspiring moment. When we checked in tonight, the registration table asked us to write down an adjective about how we're feeling. And after 5 minutes of a typical politician's indecisiveness, I actually came up with a term, and mine was exciting. No, actually, it's optimistic. Mine was optimistic, and I am incredibly optimistic tonight, fiercely optimistic about the time we are in, the moment we're at, and the opportunities we have. I am fiercely optimistic about the opportunity we have as a city government to revolutionize ourselves with technology. We have a brand new, half of our city council is brand new. I think that Felipe and I, along with Mitch Englander and Joe Buscaino and Bob Blumenfield and Mitch O'Farrell, are going to form a tech and innovation caucus to help make the city more efficient, but also to help nurture and encourage the growing innovation economy here in Los Angeles. I'm particularly fiercely optimistic because I get the pleasure, starting July 1, of representing Silicon Beach, the home to Google and Amplify and Snapchat, and almost dozens and dozens of the startups that will benefit from the work of the Bixel Exchange. I was talking with the head of Google's office in Venice today, and we were talking about what the emerging tech economy in Los Angeles needs. And one of the things he was saying we need is for the startups to have better mentorship and better connection to the existing knowledge base of business in Los Angeles. And here we are tonight. This is a fantastic effort. I'm so excited to see what's happening here tonight, and I'm so thrilled to be a part of what I think is going to be a revolution in spurring small business and a new innovation economy here in Los Angeles. Thank you.
I chose red, and I went with beets because I'm gardening these days. I'm really excited about that because I've served in the state legislature working on a whole bunch of different issues, trying to make the case for California to actually invest tax credits into clean tech, which we were successful doing under Governor Schwarzenegger, but most recently with the film tax credit that I authored, trying to figure out how to expand that a little bit. The $300 million that we did for film and entertainment, incredibly important, but I think California needs to figure out how to add some additional incentives so we capitalize projects like you all are probably going to share with us later here in California and here in Los Angeles. I was reminded with the invitation today about a book that I recently read, That Used to Be Us by Thomas Friedman. Show of hands here, who's read the book? Okay, only a couple of us. It's not that big of a read. But I think it's a really important read because it helps us understand not just how important tech is, but it talks about the crises that are facing America. We've got a couple of things that are challenges for this country. You've got globalization. You've got chronic, big budget deficits at the state and local level. Does this sound familiar for anybody? You've got energy consumption issues, and you've got a revolution in information technology that California, this country, is struggling in keeping up. We know, having served in the legislature, that California is the innovation state. The problem and challenge, I think, for all of us is that we don't capitalize on that innovation. We don't understand how to incent that kind of business production in this state. And I'm excited with what Karen just shared with us, that the best kept secret is a marketing challenge for us. we need to figure out with champions like Mike and the folks that he mentioned, how to talk very loudly and clearly about Los Angeles being the place for you all to be successful. For Los Angeles to be the innovation state of California, and hopefully lead by example the rest of the country. So I'm incredibly excited, despite the fact that I was thinking about my garden and beets, that Los Angeles is going to really help us pave the way to a successful economy. It used to be, when we were talking about shifting from a gray stack economy to a green stack economy, that energy was a cornerstone to a successful economy, and it's incredibly important. But I think more and more we understand that innovation is that new cornerstone for our new economy. So I'm really eager to hear from all of you. I'm excited about serving with great members like Mike Bonin and really helping move this city forward. So with that, I want to thank you for the invitation, the Chamber for their real stewardship and leadership, not just in this area, but for all of Los Angeles. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't know, I like the garden analogy actually myself. I mean, today we're planting some seeds for the future of Los Angeles right now. I like that a lot. But let's give it up again. I mean, come on, these guys get it, right? We have to feel good that we have people like Mike and Felipe going into city government. I think we have the core of the Innovation Caucus at the City Council sitting here today. What I wanted to do is, let me invite Linda Bedrosian to come up with me. So, Linda, for those of you who haven't met her, is a dynamo. She is the director of the new director of the Bixel Exchange, and she works 24/7 on this. So she has been really incredible. But what we wanted to do was just talk to you a little bit about how the Bixel Exchange came to be and what some of the services that we're offering. So that for a lot of you who have technology companies out there and say, what's this all about? We're going to let you know a little bit about what you can come to us and what we'll help you with. So the way we started out this whole program, the whole project, was we wanted to take a look at what are some of the strengths, what are some of the things happening here in Los Angeles. So, I mean, a lot of you know about, the great universities and sort of our Hollywood-fueled digital media industry here. Just a lot of the creative talent and everything that's happening here in Los Angeles, which has been here for a long time. And I think, in the last few years, we've really started to see the technology industry take off with the ascent of Silicon Beach. We've had a lot more venture capitalists and others moving from north to south to invest in Los Angeles. So what we did was, when we were out there looking, we talked to a lot of technology entrepreneurs. We looked at what other cities were doing, and we said, despite all this, there's still some gaps. Like all companies, if you talk to a lot of technology entrepreneurs in LA and you ask them, what do you need? They'll answer, some of the things that you guys probably have on the tip of your tongue, right? It's around, we need customers. We need to be able to do product development. We need to raise capital, and we need access to talent, right? So those are something that all businesses need, and these companies were telling us they needed that as well. But aside from that, there were a lot of things where LA did not actually, we still had some gaps, where we didn't quite measure up to some other areas that we were thinking these might be some areas that we could help fill. And when you ask what are those things compared to other areas, we found that there's a lack of mentors in LA, sort of mentorship and support services for a lot of entrepreneurs. We met, I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs we met where they said, if I had only known at the beginning, right? If I had only known. And so that's a big gap in LA. The connection between our universities and the commercialization of the technologies at the universities, also something that we haven't connected in the same way here in LA that they've done in areas like the Silicon Valley or Massachusetts. The connection between entrepreneurs and large corporations was another thing that was lacking here. These are the corporations to which they're going to sell their products, they're going to partner with and maybe be acquired by someday. The connection between the tech industry and government is not quite the same here, local government, as it is in other areas. So there were a lot of areas that we found that were still, that there were some gaps that needed to be filled. And so when we launched the Bixel Exchange, we wanted to do it in a way that started to fill these gaps. So if you look at what are the programs that we have to offer, they are things around, number one is about providing mentors and support services for the Bixel Exchange, or for entrepreneurs in the LA area. The second is around educational programs, or getting access to information that can move you towards getting more capital, finding the right talent, doing more product development, and really figuring out where your markets are. You can see we've done a lot of events around those, and then the last is also advocacy, where the Chamber is going to play a role as an advocate for the technology industry, as Karen said, with local government, state government, and in Washington, D.C. So you can see just, for example, a few of the events that we've already done this year. Yes, we are launching now, but we sort of did a little bit of a soft launch early. To give an example, we've done some stuff around crowdfunding, where we brought people in, we give them an overview of crowdfunding, and for those of you who don't know what crowdfunding is, it's just the ability to raise capital, usually from friends and families, but to do campaigns to raise the funds. And then we follow it up every quarter now. We have a workshop where people can come in for 3 or 4 hours and work with us on developing their crowdfunding campaign. And we're partnered with all of the main crowdfunding platforms to do that. So some examples of doing that. We also have some advisors that we have coming in. You're going to meet one of them, Mike, who's going to be sitting up here a little later. He's an angel investor here in Los Angeles, and he's one of our chamber advisors who'll be working with our companies to help them grow. So with that, I actually wanted to ask Linda if she could talk a little bit about some of our partners and some of the other stuff going on at, here in LA.
Thank you, Sean. Actually, I think I've been gifted to have a dynamo team. I don't think I've ever had the dynamo word used for me, but thank you so much. I went with blue and happy, but I wish I knew about the word dynamo that popped into my head. How's it going, everybody? Good. I'm so glad you all came. Bixel Exchange. I've been fortunate enough to have an amazing team at the Chamber, at the SBDC, SBA supporting us to create a team where we can go ahead and do work for the startup industry and help them launch companies faster, better, and cheaper. So what I wanted to focus on in conversation today was that all of you are here because there's something that you have that you're interested in supporting. And that's what we need in order to make the Bixel Exchange a success. We've had some amazing events, as Sean mentioned, that we've been doing since we started. And we really treated the center like a startup. As Karen said, we worked very long hours and continue to. And we look at what the needs of our customers are, what the needs of the base is, and how do we support that need. Obviously, access to capital, talent, and also customers. So we looked at some events that we had done, and we looked at how do we make these events become even more effective. So on June 15th, we have Silicon Beach LA is doing an event for hiring talent at Loyola Marymount. We're supporting them, they're one of our partners. The second event is on June 26th at Hub LA, another one of our partners. We're doing an event for crowdfunding with crowdfunder CEO Chance Barnett. The third, on July 17th, I'm sworn to secrecy on this, but I really want to tell you guys where it is, but it hasn't been finalized. It's a location on the west side that we're doing an event focused on digital media and entertainment. So, who are our partners? Clearly we cannot do this. We can't have all of you people in here without, support from our partnership. So I'd like to give kudos to the folks that we have had the opportunity to work with. So, could we go back to the other one? Thank you. It's so funny. I actually had put USC and UCLA on the same slide, and it was flipped out. Very interesting. I actually had a joke for that. Skip over that one. The Innovation Lab, I'd like to pull out an example. We were fortunate enough to have, I'm a USC alum, so you can see I'm a little biased. Erin Riley, who's here, I had the fortune of working with her, and one day I called her up. I said, listen, we're doing this Bixel Exchange. What can I help you with? She said, give me 4 advisors. I said, fine. Call the Tech Coast Angels. Was able to get Mike and a few others. And we went ahead and I said, we'll pay you, we'll cut you, just go and help these startup companies at USC. And out of that came a success story, Susannah Luthi, who's going to be on our panel today, and you'll get to meet her. She won the Crunch event at USC this year. So that was a big deal. And she now has a successful crowdfunding campaign going on, which I'm sure she will let you know about. So that's a success story, and that's what we are focused on doing, is getting the resources to the right people and getting results. So, next slide, please. We have partners who are here, our friend, and we're going really fast on this. I'm getting to Peter. Tech LA Hub, Los Angeles, which is in the Arts District in LA. TechZulu, thank you, our friend, for being here today. And also Silicon Beach LA, who are our media partners. As well as, we have Media Camp from Warner Brothers, and also Green Business Base Camp. And because of the relationship with Green Business Base Camp, Carrie Norton, I asked her, I said, listen, I'm looking for the dynamo who is a name in the industry and who's been there and done that, who's respected, blah, blah, blah. She said, I got the guy for you. I said, all right. She connected me with this guy, Peter, whose last name I hope I don't butcher.
Everybody does.
Chiadi?
Chadi.
Chiadi, okay. I had a...
Pretty good. Dynamo.
Dynamo. And you are, what is your color today? Red? Okay. I met Peter, and we met at the lobby of the Renaissance Hotel. So, rowdy, things were going on. I felt like I met an old friend. Peter was incredibly passionate. He didn't know me from Adam. We actually were talking on the phone, and we didn't know what the other person looked like. And we had to like look at where the voices were coming from. And we were there for the Splash LA event, which was a few weeks ago. And Peter and I met, and I said, I don't know if we're ever going to do anything with the Bixel Exchange. You're too busy. You're just a phenomenal dynamo. But I have a feeling we're going to do things together. So I'd like to read off a few things that Peter's done, which I have not memorized because they're very lofty. They are. Peter is with Nanette Digital Media Ventures. He's the CEO. He's a long stint at Sorensen Media, where he remains on the board. Used to be the CEO of SiteSpeed, acquired by Logitech. And he was an executive with Universal, senior executive, and president of the Music Match, acquired by Yahoo. So with that, but here's the thing. He's an incredibly accomplished person, but what made him really connect, and as I said, to consider him as a friend, is all the work that he does to give back to the community. And I feel that's one of the things that really stood out for me, and I appreciate that. So with that, Peter.
So first of all, there's no way I can live up to that. So bear with me. One thing I am, though, I am extremely passionate, so I'll be gesticulating wildly. I'm Hungarian. That's what we do. So, Linda, thank you for that. That was, again, I don't know how anybody lives up to that, but I'll try to say some things that, because I'm a passionate guy, I really come from the heart. I really mean all of this. I feel deeply about entrepreneurialism. So I am very humbled, and I'm honored to be here to represent entrepreneurs at this great launch. Bixel Exchange is a new haven for creativity to foster and accelerate innovation. That alone is a big deal. But it's the providing of the mentorship and the connections, and most of all, it's a toast from the city of LA, and it's a real commitment and a data point showing that this city is committed to entrepreneurialism and to innovation. So here's the thing. Here's the exciting but frequently daunting reality of being an entrepreneur. Your path is never a straight one. It takes a cast iron stomach, and you'll find that out. If your plan is to go left, more frequently, you'll go right. And sometimes that's by design. Most usually, it is not by design. Certainly, that's how my career has played out so far. And here's the beauty of it. I wouldn't want to have had it any other way. Even in those moments when I grab the Pepsi AC and I complain to my wife. My career adventure is now shockingly nearly 25 years. Which is still amazing to me that it just flies by. And I think a lot of that is because when you love what you do, that's what happens. My career has been split roughly 50-50 between so-called traditional media, which are the major studios, and new digital media technology companies, including 4 startups and growth stage companies. I've been fortunate to work with very good people in all of those, and that's why we achieved some excellent results in certainly many of them. I chose this path certainly not by design, although I could play it that way. But this serendipitous and circuitous path has led me to certain perspectives on what it means to be an entrepreneur and what success means. I will get to that punchline in a moment, but first, looking back at all of my many companies, each built a very different kind of media product. Some created content, some distributed it, but all shared one fundamental theme. All were steeped in and inspired by creativity, innovation, and passion. Ingredients that are fundamental to impactful experiences in our multi-screen world. And forgive me, I will be focusing a little bit on digital media, because that's the world I come from. But digital media is the connection of media and technology. So technology is absolutely at the heart of it. But anyhow, fundamental experiences. And that means that all of these companies are steeped in and inspired by the creative energy that is uniquely Los Angeles. You can feel this creativity. I feel it in the buzz and energy all around us here. That's why we're here tonight. You can see it here. You can see it within the ever-buzzing walls of the 10-plus major business accelerators and shared space startup workplaces that have sprouted up in the city, like Amplify LA and Launchpad, both of whom are represented here tonight. Like WeWork Labs in Hollywood. You can't help but smile when you walk around the place. There's an unbridled urge to innovate, to do things differently, to disrupt. I just returned from a business trip in New York City last week. I met with a number of VCs while I was there, startups, and media companies. It was enlightening. One of those New York City VCs didn't want to talk about the New York City entrepreneurial scene. He focused on LA. The startup scene is hot, hot, hot in LA. That's what he said. And that's why he now focuses his investments right here. I met with a major New York City-based media company. They are setting up their new venture arm right here in LA. Universal Music Group CEO just moved headquarters from New York to Los Angeles. In his words, if you want to build an entertainment brand, this is where you need to be. That's why Google is here, Amazon is here. Technology companies are transforming themselves into new media companies right now. But this isn't an LA versus New York thing, nor is it an LA versus Silicon Valley thing. But let's face it, only Los Angeles can stake the claim of being the home of digital media. The marriage of media and content with technology to create entirely new experiences and entirely new business opportunities. Why? Because content is absolutely king, and relationships do matter. Technology without substance is useless, and LA stands apart when it comes to those essential ingredients. No other place comes close. So this time, right now, is a special time for Los Angeles. It was said before today, and that's absolutely true. We are absolutely in the midst of, right now, of a disruptive digital media revolution. Frequently uncomfortable, sometimes unsettling, but ultimately rewarding. And we are fortunate to be in a position to drive that change. Think about it. Digital media ultimately is about harnessing new technology to send your messages, tell your stories to virtually anyone on this planet, anytime, anywhere. That's why the third screen that you see around here, the smartphones, that's why it's so revolutionary. It is with each of us virtually 24/7. Think about that business opportunity. But also think about what stories you want to tell. Because this revolutionary form of new direct global engagement can go much further than the business models themselves. And something that is particularly exciting to me is digital media's power to enable each of us to generate greater social impact than ever before possible. To amplify our individual voices, to reach a global audience, to establish new communities, to do good, real, tangible good, at scale, world-changing good. That's what LA-based Participant Media is doing. Many of you probably know that company. Pretty remarkable company. It is a double bottom line company, you may know that phrase, where success is measured by both profit and social impact. The greater good. Yes, it's okay to lead change and make money in the process. The company's self-proclaimed mission is to create entertainment that inspires and compels social change. I love that word, compels. They are truly successful only if they motivate action. The founders come from Silicon Valley, but their operations, creativity, and inspiration are based right here in LA. Impact, and their impact is global in every sense of the word. Another example is LA-based digital media startup Gather. Anybody familiar with Gather? Some of you? It's a great company, check them out, G-A-T-H-R. Really interesting company. What they do is they uniquely harness the connectivity of this brave new online world to drive demand for groundbreaking independent films, to find an audience for inspiring stories that otherwise would go unheard. That's what's happening in LA right now. So how can we be part of that energy? How can we accelerate it? How can we multiply it? Here's my answer. By immersing yourself in it, by being entrepreneurs, by pursuing everything you do with passion. That ultimately is what entrepreneurialism is all about. It is about passion. Passion in our work, in companies, big and small, in for-profits, non-profits, in our play, our families, our communities. And for me, success means the pursuit of passion, not just the achievement of financial gain. It is the day-to-day journey, the why and how you do what you do. That's what matters most. So embrace entrepreneurialism. Embrace serendipity. Introduce yourself to the person next to you. Build your network, but do it authentically. Don't just look for help. Help others enthusiastically. And don't look for immediate payback. It frequently happens when you least expect it. And own the fact that we are fortunate to be doing all of this in this great city of LA. Thanks. It is panel time. So panelists, come on up. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a very informal Q&A as part of the panel. First, I'm going to allow each of the panelists to introduce themselves and spend just a couple minutes each of you to do that. And then I'll ask a couple questions just to get things going. But this is really meant to be very interactive. So after they introduce themselves, if you have questions, stand up, get to the microphones after I ask one or two. So with that, Sam, why don't you get started?
Thank you so much, Peter.
Yeah.
And thank you all for having us here tonight. This is a really inspiring event. I was born and raised in Hollywood, and it's just so exciting to see this world which didn't exist when I was growing up. I had no idea what a startup was, or what a venture capital firm was, or what it meant that entrepreneurship was even a possible career path. And to see this community growing right here in LA is just so inspiring. So, like I said, my name is Sam Teller. I'm the co-founder and managing director of Launchpad LA. We're what's called a startup accelerator, and we're based in Santa Monica at 2nd and Broadway. For those of you who don't know, an accelerator is basically a business that invests capital, provides office space, and provides access to a large network of mentors and advisors and investors, typically to early stage technology startups. And so that's what we do. We invest $100,000 in about 20 early stage tech companies a year. We give them office space for 4 months, and we hook them up with a big network of mentors. So far over the past year and a half, since we opened the doors of the accelerator, we've invested in 27 companies. Last year, of the 18 investments we made, 16 raised outside financing, combined over $32 million of funding for startups here in Los Angeles. They've created something like close to 150 jobs so far, and only one of those companies has left LA. So, yeah, that's me.
My name is Jeff Solomon. Thank you for having us. This is very cool. It was a little bit of a journey to get down here, but I made it. Yes, I do like it down here. I grew up in LA. I just don't spend that much time here anymore. So now I have a new reason to come down here and work with the folks here. As I said, I grew up here. I'm a full-on startup junkie entrepreneur. I've been building companies for as long as I can remember. I also did not know what an entrepreneur was or what a startup was. In fact, it wasn't until way later after college in my career that I finally even realized that word existed, that I could sort of find my path. You had said there's you'll never take the exact path or a straight line, and I think that to me that's what exactly entrepreneurship is that there's 100 different ways and you find the one that's really the least resistance. So I'm a co-founder and executive director at Amplify, which is also an accelerator and fund. So I've kind of jumped from building companies to now investing and advising and mentoring companies. So it's a bit of a change for me, but I really enjoy working with very early stage companies. Very similar metrics. I hadn't heard your metrics lately, but about 26 companies, 27 companies. I think both us and there's a few other accelerators not represented here tonight, but in LA that are doing great for LA. And I think the combined metrics of what we're doing, it's pretty amazing. Like I think probably close to more than 50 million just between the two of us has been raised amongst our 50 companies. We've had one of our companies got acquired by a public company last year. Two of our companies moved away, unfortunately. But it's just been great to watch this ecosystem flourish, and we're excited to hopefully find some new businesses from this ecosystem here.
Thanks. I'm Susannah Luthi. I'm here with my co-founder, ARIAN. We are definitely the lucky beneficiaries of the dynamic community here. We were incubated at the USC Annenberg Innovation Lab. Erin Riley is here. She's been a tremendous mentor. And we were connected to the LA Chamber and Linda, who brought us a mentor from Coast Angels, which was huge. So basically, we're a literary startup, Connu, and we started with the aim of giving the great contemporary writers an edge in the digital publishing space. All publishing revenues pretty much will be digital soon. And we wanted to create something special that really was revitalizing literature through a community of readers and writers. So with that crazy dream, I picked green and gutsy as my adjective because as an indebted MFA student starting a publishing company for literature, maybe maybe a little gutsy, but Carlson, Margaret Atwood, and we've been, Meg Fisher from Apple's been a tremendous support. So we've really gone a long way. We've been bootstrapping it. We're currently on Kickstarter, as Linda said. We are only 2 weeks in, and we're 80% funded. Wow. We're raising, our goal is 15,000. I'd like to raise a lot more. But yeah, we hopped over the 12,000 mark last night, so that was very exciting. So yeah, that's right.
Thank you. You guys fighting for incubator accelerator? Okay. Thank you, Linda, and everybody at the Chamber that invited me. I was born in Romania, so I'm your parents' neighbor. So I grew up under communism for 11 years, then 3 years in Israel under socialism, and landed in this wonderful country in '92. Nobody knew how much longer America was going to be in that recession, but that's when it started kicking out, so that's why my family remained here. But I did learn that I didn't want to work for anyone, and then I surrounded myself with only like-minded people who wanted to be entrepreneurs, take over the world, and somebody once said, well, you don't have any friends who are not entrepreneurs, so who's going to drive limos one day? So that not everybody can be or should be or will be an entrepreneur. So I quit that path of converting everyone from whatever they're doing to quitting everything, risking it, and becoming an entrepreneur. And I was very fortunate to receive a grant to go to Pepperdine, and not having any money there and being a lifeguard and not having a car,
I toured that campus a million times trying to figure out how to make money while on campus, which is very hard. So I realized that all the buildings and every classroom and every brick and every bench and every street has somebody's name. As I started looking for who those people are, none of them were CEOs of large corporations or any kind of corporation. They were entrepreneurs who build their own. And eventually they donated money, and that's how they buy their legacy, or as I call it, they buy their own immortality while they're mortal. So anyway, I started in investment banking here in downtown, so I did the 30-mile commute from Malibu every day. And then I joined an investment banking firm in Century City called West Park Capital, where I was for 3 years. And about 6 months I was with Millennium Capital Partners, which is a small $20 million fund. And then at the same time I was building my own companies. And I was trying to sponsor other immigrant students from Pepperdine to get their green cards. So that's how I started my first company, as a result of trying to help a friend get his green card. And we built that company in 24 months to $2.5 million revenue, 20 employees, and I sold my stake to him, went back to Europe, and owned 12 different franchises there. Just Eastern Europe was growing tremendously. Lots of service companies and product companies wanted to be there, and I happened to, free ride on that path of the entry of Bulgaria and Romania into the European Union. And then I came back 2 years ago, right at the time when all these accelerators were starting, and having seen TechZulu Angels from 16 years ago when we got started with 20 guys and gals, and having people go through a process to pitch to them, I always said one day I'm going to be a member of that. So I put that on my bucket list, and 2 years ago I became a member. And what I could tell you about TechZulu, whatever you've heard of it, whatever you haven't heard, I would encourage all of you to come to one of our pre-screenings, or screenings actually, every first or third Friday from 9:30 till 12. You have to be invited by a member, so I'm a member, I'm inviting you. And what you're going to see there are 3 companies pitching 12 minutes with 10-minute Q&A. They have to leave the room, the members talk about it, and then they invite them for the diligence session next Friday. Or they say, sorry, go and fix all these things, come back in a few months. So what I can tell you about TechZulu is whatever you know about it, whatever you heard about it, whatever you don't know about it, come and see a true pitch, and then make your own conclusion about what is the process like. Because you apply online, there was 1,000 companies last year, about 300 were pre-screened through WebEx, and this is 5 chapters from San Diego to Santa Barbara, 6 sectors, which the easiest way to put it is TechZulu members don't invest in real estate or film. Everything else is bundled into 6 different industries. And so 1,000 applied online, 300 pre-screened through WebEx, about 70 or 80 came and pitched physically, first or third Friday, and 31 companies got $9.25 million last year. Now, over the 16-year history of TCA, there have been 210 companies that received capital, $125 million from members, and another $1.4 billion from external sources. And the biggest success story that we talk about is Green Dot. Green Dot CEO was probably my age back then, 16 years ago, had a crazy idea, came and pitched, and nobody of the 20 original members got it, besides one lady who ended up 11 years later making 117 times her money. Meanwhile, she was a consultant on the board, CMO for some time. So that tells you that sometimes it takes 11 years for a company to pop. Anyway, that's where I'm going to stop talking and let our esteemed moderator throw some curveballs at us.
Okay, so with that, I want to go pretty rapid fire because you have a great panel up here with great experiences, great stories to tell. And so we should hear from all of you more than you hear from me asking questions, but I'll start with one. And then stand up next to the microphone so I know if there are questions out there, but it's a great panel. So I was speaking about one of the obvious areas in technology in Los Angeles, and that's media and digital media. But it's much broader. Obviously, innovation in technology is much broader than that. And so with all the things that you're seeing out there, why don't you each just give, very short, but a couple examples of what you see out there that's interesting in Los Angeles from a technology standpoint, innovation standpoint. And it's always nice to get a couple examples, so people have some tangible examples and they can look them up afterwards. But let's go pretty rapid fire in this so we have time for everybody else.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'll just point to 3 industries that I think are driving a lot of growth here in LA. The first is in digital media, would be video, around YouTube networks, as they're called, or multi-channel networks. We have 2 companies, Maker Studios and Machinima, which will both do 9-figure revenue this, in 2013 this year, and both employ hundreds of people.
Those are your companies?
Not our companies. No, just LA companies we're talking about. Yeah, and then there are a number of companies that are in that space, but a lot smaller, Big Frame and Dance On, which are our investments, Full Screen, Me Too, Tastemade, Zephyr, on and on and on, that are incredibly exciting. The second space might be e-commerce. Very close to here is Nasty Gal or Hoodlook. We have the Honest Company out of Santa Monica. In El Segundo, there's Intelligent Beauty, which did, I think, close to $500 million in revenue last year. Incredibly huge e-commerce businesses, and smaller exciting companies like 20 Jeans, or The Books, or Tradesy, or Milk and Honey, which are two of our investments and two of Jeff's investments. And then the third area that I'd say, which maybe isn't driving as much revenue, but is certainly driving investor interest in growth, would be in kind of mobile social applications. Snapchat, which was mentioned earlier in Venice, Tinder, a mobile dating app, a smaller one, but it's growing really quickly, called Whisper. There's a lot of exciting businesses being built in kind of mobile social applications.
Pretty thorough. What do you got?
I think you should skip the next question.
Yeah, we could. I'll be very quick on the e-commerce thing. What I think is interesting in e-commerce is the idea of ultra verticalized e-commerce, and it's somewhat to be determined to the scale at which these companies can get. And I think some of ours you mentioned, 20 Jeans and The Books, are kind of good examples. But I'm seeing more and more of these things where it's like a very specific product that targets a very specific niche of people. And what I like about that kind of business is that it's relatively easy to get off the ground. Because when you're targeting someone very specific, it's relatively easy to find them. Now, it's hard to find millions and millions of them, but it's easy to get to that kind of base camp level, which is kind of nice, because if you always needing money, there's going to be a strap for that next round of money. So I like companies that can get to that kind of threshold and sort of hang there if they need to, and then figure out a way to scale from there.
Well, and sometimes what you can do is you can take what's worked in one particular market and then extend it into another one.
Well, I've been pretty siloed into publishing, so that's the
hot stuff.
Yeah. But there are a lot of interesting microblogging and micro-publishing sites popping up. One that springs to mind is the magazine. I'm not sure if they're here though. I think they might be in. Yeah. But yeah, those are the people I'm looking at right now.
Well, since Sam did such a great macro overview, I'm going to answer with the following. Having seen this in 16 years, every couple of years there's something that's hotter. So I don't really care what's hot today, because maybe that's what's creating jobs now, but in 2 years it'll be something else. And all the VCs and most of the angel investors just follow whatever the trend is. And how many of you here years down the road said, "Oh, I thought of YouTube. Oh, I thought of Redbox or whatever." I've been through that. Those are two ventures that I worked on, and I just didn't have the vision to continue, and I just did. So that's the way I...
Okay, so what do you see then, 2 years down the line?
That's the billion-dollar question.
You can't just put that out there.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm excited about, what I'm very involved in for 2 years, and where I see a big explosion, that's in the philanthropy space. But that's a longer conversation. Why?
No, please.
I was going to say, I think the companies that Jeff and I both invest in, I'd say our portfolios are both pretty evenly split between consumer-facing companies and B2B companies, and I don't know the exact numbers, but I think that there are companies that are a lot less sexy, but are maybe much more engineering-heavy, much more focused on solving some sort of, again, unsexy back-end problem for small businesses, order management software, customer retention software, integration with different back-end systems, whatever it might be. And so I think one of the things that is less evident right now, it's very clear to us because we live it, but I think these businesses haven't bubbled up, are a lot of these very engineering-heavy B2B companies, which will take another year or two to mature. The sales cycles are longer, but there are a number of really exciting businesses being built.
By the way, as it relates to liquidity, the public markets very much favor the SaaS businesses right now. Like, take Cornerstone on Demand, which is one of the biggest successes that probably a lot of people don't really even know is an LA company, but their multiple on Wall Street is outrageous. I mean, the company is incredibly valuable, and I think they're going to just break 100 million in sales this year. So
$1 billion market cap.
that's what I mean. Yeah. So it's really kind of amazing the multiple that they're getting. They're very favoring. So we love that stuff, but there's not a lot of SaaS in LA just now. So if you're thinking about what to build, I'd love to see more software.
So why do you think that is, by the way? Why do you think that there isn't much SaaS in most of that?
Well, I mean, I have a few ideas, but one of them is the pros and cons of having the entertainment sector. Like, it creates this sort of like energy of excitement and consumer. You know, it's a consumer-oriented category. So a lot of what people want to do when they jump in is they want to build consumer stuff because it's fun, it's cool, right? And I think the people that develop the software are looking at it purely from a problem-solving standpoint and come out of those industries. So I think there'll be a cycle of more of that as we kind of get a little bit of the hype sort of washed away, which is fine. It's part of the life cycle of an ecosystem. But that's kind of one of the things. Obviously, talent, engineering is a big factor as well.
That, because that gets to, if that's the feeling out there, the zeitgeist that's out about Los Angeles, which of course it is, then in terms of attracting some of the great engineering talent that you need for some of these initiatives, how do you feel LA is doing? The trend that now with the more of this feeling that LA, there's a lot more energy happening in LA, are more engineers staying here? Are we attracting? You're down there and you see all these people coming into these various companies. Do you think more people are being attracted on the engineering side to LA and believe that there's a home for them here?
Yeah, I mean, definitely there are. And I think even there is a lot of talent here already. And one of the things that I've observed with talent, we have one company that's a SaaS company, and this young engineer, very talented guy, but not super experienced, has not been developing software for years and years and years, but he basically spent like 6 months trying to decide what he wanted to do next. And most of the things he was pitched were founders with various, e-commerce or entertainment or mobile, just really cool stuff. And he kind of waited out until he found something that he felt was like very good business. And he joined this SaaS company, which is not sexy at all. It's an accounting. The company's called Lean Close. It's our latest deal. And it's an accounting platform, and it's very unsexy. But he is this kind of guy that's like, he didn't get tempted by the hype. He wanted to find something that he really thought could work.
I'll say similarly, two of my least sexy founders are sitting over there. Jake and Joel moved to Los Angeles from Alabama to build a SaaS company for small businesses. They were both engineers. Their third co-founder is also an engineer. We have, over the past year, over half the businesses we've invested in have been founded by 2 or more engineers. And that's something that I think we're seeing ex-Googlers who previously would have not thought that LA was a serious tech community. Now with the Google office and with the rise of so many great startups here in LA, they say, yeah, I feel like I can really be a part of an engineering community that wants to tackle big problems. There are big developer meetups of all kinds. And so I think that really has changed. And obviously graduating 3,000-4,000 engineers from Southern California schools here every year doesn't hurt as well. So
yeah, and telling those stories is so important. Just the things that we're doing here, and within your workplaces, the accelerators and the shared space places, and getting the press out there, talking to them, so that all of these those themes about LA for engineers, for all different types of talents, that there's so much going on here matters a lot. Because Silicon Valley. And again, this sounds a little bit defensive about Silicon Valley and LA, but Silicon Valley gets a lot of press, of course, as being the home of all this innovation. And it is, and it's a tremendous place. But there's talent everywhere. And it's a question of keeping the talent that you have in and around the community. And this is a big community. And so spreading the word is a critical part of it. We can all do that. But enough of that. And yes.
Peter, do you mind telling people what is SaaS?
Yes, software as a service. So basically, selling software to businesses as opposed to a disk or a server
model.
That they pay for on a monthly basis or on a per user basis, as opposed to buying a huge installation of hardware and servers and stuff.
Yes, if you could say your name.
Yeah, my name's Luthi Khan. I'm the creator of PT Pal. So my product just launched about a month ago. It's doing really well. It's sort of your typical .com. It's kind of gone through the roof, but I'm on my own doing it, so I'm glad to hear you mention mentors. My mentors are people like Adam Draper, Ashish Advani, but these guys are not in LA, and I haven't had much tech support, or I'd like to be involved in Silicon Beach, but it's really hard to have access to you guys. I have clients, I just spoke to American, they want my product on their planes. Cedars is using it, Kaiser wants it.
Okay, we'll be your mentors, okay?
I would love that, I'm holding you to that.
Sold.
So I have a huge amount of really big companies from Edison to Boeing interested, and other healthcare companies down in Long Beach. I have a great model. It's the only product of its kind on the market. It's in healthcare. No one's mentioned healthcare, and with the Affordable Care Act, it's blowing up. I am first to market. I'm still the only one on the market, and I would love help.
Okay.
Congratulations.
How do I get access? Think about how do I get access to you guys?
I think we'd all love to learn more about your business.
Yeah. But I have a question for you about that. So it's been difficult to get access.
Yeah.
There are events all over the place. Have you tried to attend some of those events for entrepreneurs and VCs and investors?
Yeah, I went to an entrepreneur event. I met Ashish Advani. I just went straight up and asked him if he'd be my advisor. He's great. He introduced me to an investor. I've had lots of people ask for equity, and that's been really hard for me. I don't know how to handle that, and I've asked for lots of advice. I haven't given anything away. And then Adam Draper, I've just been in touch with him. So I've been to some events, but there's not a lot. I'm going to the Silicon Beach events, especially the one in Pasadena at Idea Lab. But I haven't heard a lot. It's really hard to get in touch with anybody in that
I think you
field.
go to every event and you get the same speech, and then you get another mentor from each one.
No, but I think there is a serious point in there, and your business sounds really exciting, and I think we'd all love to learn more. I mean, I feel this tension every day where there are basically an unlimited number of really interesting entrepreneurs whose businesses I can't or won't invest in, but are building interesting businesses here in LA, and it's a struggle. I think where I'm focused on my portfolio of businesses, trying to help them grow so that they can create jobs here and drive financial returns. But I think that one of the things that we think about a lot is how we can do more stuff to actually open up our doors to the community of businesses other than the ones we invest in. And so I'd love to talk after about maybe some ideas of how we can do that.
Great. Can I come up and give you my question?
Everybody give up.
I have one question.
See, Bixel exchange already creating. Guys, we didn't plan this. Says pay by the minute, by the word.
Recheck. No, I didn't. So, if you're somebody like an entrepreneur who has that kind of a story, there's all these events that are going around, but how do you keep track of that? If there were one or two resources to look at, thank you. Where do you turn if you're an entrepreneur and you want to know what's going on, where the meetups are, where you meet the VCs, those kind of events? Is there one or two main resources for that?
Amplify Wednesday mentor meetings.
I was going to say, one of the things about the Wednesday events that we have is they're open to outside our company. In fact, our companies don't even come as much as they should. It's kind of annoying, quite frankly. So it's mostly outsiders, but I meet a lot of great people that way, and there's only like 30 people that come to this event, and it's not a networking event because I don't really actually like networking events. I like activities, as I was telling these girls before. So there's some sort of presentation, and then you can just walk up after and chat. And that's just one. If you get on our newsletter, you'll get an invite every single week. And we literally have something every week. But there is a list that somebody puts out that has all the events. I get it.
I get the other one.
I get it from Eventbrite. I have no idea, but starting January, I get an email at the beginning of each month with all the events. I don't know how I got in that list.
Find it, but there is an email distribution list that somebody sends out, all of the our events.
Go to TechZulu.com. You'll find it all on there.
That's a big deal. If you're an entrepreneur, though, check out these resources because then you'll be able to be connected with
Just call Linda. So.
Bixel is big.
And also, you joined the Women 2.0 list for women entrepreneurs, and they have a lot of women-focused events. I've really been dependent on the women power community. Just
I've taught a class a few times over the past year called Introduction to the LA Startup Community, and actually put the slides from that online. And at the end of it, there's a list of dozen meetups and things like that. So if you go to launchpad.la, which is our website, and look on the blog, the slides are all embedded there. And I think that's a really good jumping off point for some other places to get involved.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Karen Allen. I'm with Tax Strategic. We're a consultancy, we're local, and we help we do business dev and strategy for startups, digital entertainment. So we've been watching with great interest the growth of Silicon Beach, so we're really happy it's being taken seriously. But I've always wondered why there aren't more entertainment-focused startups. I know that there's ones that sort of go around traditional entertainment. There's the full screens and the makers and so forth. It seems like that's like a new wave of sort of DIY entertainment. But I don't see a lot of startups, even that we work with. I think we have one locally that is working with the entertainment industry. And I'm wondering, why do you think that is? We finally have tech in a big way in LA. LA is the seat of entertainment. Entertainment drastically needs technology to get them into the next century. And why do you think there's a big disconnect between entertainment and technology and tech startups in LA?
I sort of have this, it's a little bit of a theory, a little bit of sort of actual observation, but we see these people coming out of the entertainment sector that have been there for 10 or 20 years, so it's done a particular function and sees a huge problem. And it's clearly a problem, and it's a big market. That person comes out and tries to build a company. Well, that transfer from him in that business to him being an entrepreneur typically doesn't work. There's been deals we just haven't been able to fund because they just haven't confidence they could actually make a company. But there was a need. So I think it just takes more time for the maturation of the ecosystem where more tech people that could actually, and entrepreneurs that could build a company, start reaching into that community and say, where are the problems and who are the people that understand them? Because if I go in there, I don't understand editing, I don't understand how it works. So I couldn't start thinking, but there's clearly a problem there that needs to be solved. So I think somehow those two pieces have to come together more, and I think it just takes more time.
I think it's a very good question, but as a result of Linda inviting me to mentor one of the 3 teams, which she actually won against my team at USC, I saw one of the sponsoring tables, which only the night before that heard about the event, and that's called Media Camp. This is an initiative that started in San Francisco last September, now we moved it to LA. And it's a partnership between Warner Brothers and Turner, which is their subsidiary company. And they have 6 companies that just got $20,000 each for whatever equity they wanted, meaning whatever valuation the company wanted. They didn't care. They wrote it off their balance sheet right away. No, it's great because you guys won't do that. You'll sit there and negotiate for a while. But these guys said, let's throw $120,000 at LA, and they had 200 some companies that applied, and that's specifically in the media and entertainment space. So it's happening. It just took a while.
Yeah, almost every major media company has dev funds, and so you can think of them.
Even some law firms.
Yeah, and there are some law firms that have digital media funds. There are a couple digital media focused VCs. Not many, but there are a couple in LA. Like DFJ Frontier is one of them.
And there's Steamboat. There's
Steamboat's really just doing China now.
Yeah, a lot of my clients come from Europe. I got a client in Boulder. Everywhere but LA. It's
But is Ted Cohen with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So we should connect them.
I was just going to say, I think there's some innovator's dilemma at work. I mean, these are startups who are trying to disrupt old models of creation, distribution, monetization of content. These are massive multi-billion-dollar businesses that have been built on old and broken, dying models of creation, distribution, and monetization of content. And they are understandably tentative about working with a lot of these startups who are trying to destroy their businesses.
But in the digital media side, that it is the media, it's the technology. So as an example, you did mention where I am right now, we have a digital media focus fund. That's what we do. And this is just, I think there's more and more that's happening now. And that's why it's because you see things like Google coming down and YouTube building the studios and virtually every major tech company is down here in LA, so there is going to be more of that. Linda, one last?
Go for it.
Okay, one last question, and then I was told that I have to cut it off.
That's a lot of pressure. Thank you.
Better be good.
I don't know. My name's Johnny. I'm one of the co-founders of Scoop. We help local restaurants improve their customer service. So my question is about working with local businesses and small to medium-sized restaurants specifically. One of the things we've noticed as we're working on our product and we're getting more customers is that restaurants in San Francisco and just small businesses in general, especially cafes, they seem to be a lot more open to new technologies, using iPads for payments or even using iPads for other things. But Los Angeles itself as a whole city, especially all the small businesses, there's definitely more of a resistance, I feel. So my question would be, what do you think would need to happen to change that? And what kind of things need to come into place before like a city like Los Angeles, which is a huge city, really like embraces tech, you know? And I'm talking about your mom and pop, like spaghetti store, you know? So not like a major department store or something like that, but really this local business is kind of taking on, you know, being comfortable with technology.
I'll take one quick shot at it, at least part of it. The technology has to be invisible. So it has to be drop dead easy for people to understand and to optimize an opportunity. Whatever product or service it is, just needs to be intuitive, easy to use for everybody. And that's where you're going to really blow it out of the water. Apple's an example of that. At least it's you know, that's what it's known for. And so I think that's one thing that as there's more of an understanding of some of the technologies out there by a broader set of the community, and it's technology that's easy to use and the gains are easy to see because there's, whether it's metrics or something that's easily to track. That's how it begins to infiltrate on a mass scale.
I think the general ubiquity of smartphones will just slowly over time make businesses more receptive to technology. But I think, I really agree with Peter, we invested in a company called ChowNow, which builds mobile ordering apps for restaurants. And they put a tablet next to the register in a restaurant, and over again, they had to strip down and simplify the software. You saw the first version, you're like, this is dead simple, like anyone could figure this out. And over again, it proved to be more complicated than the average restaurant owner, not for lack of sophistication, just because it's not what they're used to, it's not how they processed orders. It was more complicated than they wanted to deal with, and so now it's a simple tablet that with 5 minutes over the phone you can set up and be just yes order, no order, you know, really simple like that. So I think it's a matter of stripping down the products to be as simple as possible.
Okay.
I was actually going to add something from the Chamber's perspective on that.
Not to plug the Chamber, but the LA Chamber of Commerce has over 1,600 members. Some of these are major brands, NBC Universal, Warner Brothers, UCLA, USC, and others are actually some mom and pop shops. And what we're doing is helping them here. There's a technology center here. And we are looking at doing some orientations on just what is out there in apps. What is an app? How could you use an app for your business? And this is for like basic businesses. We're not talking about high tech. And I think a lot of high tech companies have contacted us and said, I want some of those clients, but I want them to be aware that my tool will help them make more money and bring my costs down. But I want them to get that basic education, so when they see my product, they don't go, oh, tech, I don't know about that. So we certainly are playing a role in that area. So not to make it too big of a pitch for the Chamber.
Yeah, can we talk after this?
And I want to see an app for valet parking restaurants, I think. Yeah, too. So I never heard that.
It's pretty close to that. No, just kidding.
Okay, so with that,
Sean?
I just want to thank everybody on our panel. That was awesome. Come on, give it up.